All right. So I have a couple moments here before I got to get going. So I figured I'd jump on here and just I titled a particular page in my log book Remembrance, and basically it's just my way of um, reminding myself of the most important uh, parts that I have um, ascertained in this journey thus far. So basically, like a summary of the last 31 days, kind of bullet points. So, number one is to find the frequency of that which you want to manifest. I think that's pretty self explanatory. However, I will indulge. Um, I used the analogy before of the radio, the old school radios that we used to have, where you had to tune the dial in order to enjoy a particular song or what have you on the radio. And if you did not have that radio tuned, exact or near exact, what would happen is you would have fuzz in the line or interference. So you wanted to be, if it was 100.7, you wanted to make sure you were at 100.7 and not at 100.6, because then you would still hear a little bit of the broadcast. However, you would get a lot of static in the line. And so, again, in this case, in looking to manifest something, you want to make sure that you know the frequency or find the correct frequency of that which you wish to manifest, whether that be a relationship. You have to, the scripture says it this way. It says, he that findeth, excuse me, he that has friends must shew himself friendly. In layman's terms, nobody likes a mean individual, introvert, somebody that is just not friendly or sociable, and so that person more than likely will have an issue getting friends, or at the very least keeping friends. And so he that findeth, I keep wanting to quote the scripture, he that findeth a wife findeth a good thing and obtaineth favor from the Lord. But that's not the scripture I'm looking for. But the one that has friends must shew or show himself friendly. And so because you are friendly and receptive and sociable, then you attract people to you. Okay? That has to make sense. All right. So, and in any other situation, if you want to attract business or entrepreneurs or anything like that, right? You have to tune into the frequency of the type of business or the area, the industry that you want to get into. Okay? That just has to make sense as well. I'll say it like this. Like when you are communicating in whatever way with an animal, such as a dog or a cat, and you'll notice that when you're talking, you hit certain pitches, the fluctuations of your voice, in different, so you'll notice that the animal will kind of cock his or her head one way or the other, or both ways, right? You'll also see that their ears are turning. All right, it's kind of cute. But it's being done for a reason, right? And that is because they are literally tuning in to the frequency that you are putting out. They don't necessarily, it's not necessarily about the dialect that you're speaking. It's not necessarily about the, I want to say language. It's more about the frequency, the pitches, the sound, the octaves of your voice, and they associate that, in their mind from the memory of you communicating something. If you show aggression or pointing while telling them to do something, they correlate all that together, and you are able to communicate with your pet. But the point is that they are tuning into the particular frequency that you were putting out. And we do the same thing. You know, sometimes you'd be like, what did you say? You know, you cock your head. Or, you know, you might, what is it called? Furrow your brow or wrinkle your brow or whatever. You know, all of those energy and motions, the emotions, energy and motions. But again, the point one is in this remembrance, in this summary, is to find the frequency of that which you want to manifest. Otherwise, if you do not align yourself under the frequency or with the frequency of that particular item, person, or situation, then you don't have any claim to it. It does not have to. It's like I know there was a game sort of tunnels, like little tunnels, and the ball would start at the top of the game and you would line these tunnels up and the ball would drop here, and if it's not aligned, you know, if the next tube is not aligned, it would stop there. But if you shift it over so that it can go right through the tube, it's like that, right? That ball is not going to be directed in the way and the path that you desire unless you align those tubes so that the ball can continue to flow, okay? And so moving on to point two, in relation to the discussion of frequency, energy. Remember, energy flows from high to low. That's the first part. Energy, right? Energy flows from the highest concentration to the lowest concentration. Why is that? To find equilibrium. Remember that? Remember, in the other upload, I had gave an example of a cup of coffee that is at a high temp, I'll say. Let's say 100 degrees, 100 and something degrees. And so it's sipping hot, right? Well, if you put that cup of coffee in a room that maybe is 67, 68 degrees, let's say, and you leave that coffee there, now it's piping hot. But what's going to happen is the energy, right, will start to flow from that cup, and you can actually visibly see the energy in the form of the steam being released from that hot cup of coffee, right? You can see the energy being released, and it's going to vaporize into the room. And what that is that is the energy. Energy is motion. Motion is causing friction. The molecules are rapidly firing, rapidly moving. And so, you know, that's what's happening to the water when you heat it up on like the stove in a pot or in the microwave. You've excited the molecules, the water molecules, so they start to violently vibrate. All right. And so that's causing, you know, the friction. It warms up the water. And then the water, once it gets to a certain temperature, will start to evaporate. That's the escaping of energy, right? It's escaping. And so eventually the water will cool. Now, wouldn't you know it, that the temperature is going to, the water will cool to the point, to the ambient temperature of the room. So if it's 68, that's what we call, when you drink it and it's no longer, you know, scalding hot or whatever, you'll say, oh, this is lukewarm. Well, what are you really saying? You're saying that that hot cup of coffee, or that once hot cup of coffee, has cooled to the room temperature. So what happened to the 100 and whatever degree temperature? Yes, the energy went from the high concentration, or that high temp, and it flowed out of that cup of coffee, and it kept moving until it met an equilibrium with the ambient temperature of the room. Okay? And that is how energy flows. It works. That's the way it works. Okay. So that's point number two. Energy flows from the highest concentration, All right, in this case, the cup of coffee being hotter than the actual temperature of the room, it flows from the higher temperature of the cup of coffee to the lower temperature of the room. And that is equilibrium. So that's how energy flows. It's always looking for equilibrium. And remember, energy, electricity, etc., negatives and positives in order for current to flow. Right? Okay. So point number 3, emotions are energy in motion. I think I stated that already, but that's point number 3. Emotions are really energy in motion. Okay, remember, heated water eventually leads to a boiling motion. That's why it is said that when someone has a temper, or is, I should say, upset about something, and it's said that they have a boiling point, or they're about to blow their top because their temper is boiling over, right? So emotions are energy in motion. You get so hot under the collar, is the saying, that eventually you start to boil, right? And then you act out in rage or what have you, okay? Emotions are energy in motion, okay? And the hotter you get, or the hotter you heat that water, eventually it's going to lead to it's going to reach that boiling point, and that's going to be energy in motion, okay? All right, point number 4. Again, these are all points starting from day 1 of this so far 31-day journey. I'm just consolidating all of the main key points, okay? Number 4, negatives and positives, I think I said this already, are necessary for energy flow to affect energy in motion, okay? And that will happen again until equilibrium is reached. So negatives and positives are necessary, okay, for energy to flow, okay, to affect energy in motion. So the negatives and positives that you experience in your day are absolutely 100% natural, and they're 100% necessary, because without the negative and positive, the polarity, what have you, energy will not flow. There has to be a high point and there is a low point, because remember, the energy is going to flow from the high point to the low point, and until equilibrium is reached. Okay, that's what it's seeking. It's seeking equilibrium, like a waterfall. It starts from a high point, it falls over the edge, and then it falls into the body of water, right? And it's looking to reach equilibrium. Okay, to smooth sailing, or out to the smooth waters and what have you. Okay, I hope that's making sense to you. Point number 5. Being too high, okay, leads to a fall or down to an equilibrium, or can lead to you being knocked off your high horse. Now, what do I mean by that? I used a few different phrases that we might be familiar with, or phrases that we use, all right, or sayings. But so being too high, or aka prideful. The scripture says that pride goeth before, I think it's destruction or a fall. Okay, pride goeth before fall. So if you find yourself too high, or let's say too positive, remember I said there needs to be an equilibrium. It's not good to either be super positive, and it's not certainly good to be super negative. Okay, you need an equilibrium. You need a balance. Otherwise, you may become known as bipolar. Bipolar is when you're one extreme to the next. Okay, you have no chill, as they say today. You have no chill. You're at either 100 or you're at 0. I can't gauge you, because I don't know if you're 100 And I can't gauge you because sometimes you just look depressed. I can't even gauge you, right? So again, but we're addressing being too high or too prideful or too positive, too much of anything is not good, right? That will lead to a fall, okay? And remember, energy flows how? From the highest concentration to the low concentration. And therefore, if you find yourself too high, too positive, too much of something, okay, that energy is going to leave out of you like a hot air balloon, okay? And energy is always going to seek an equilibrium. Something's going to knock you off that high horse, okay? That's the point. Something is going. The saying, no good deed goes unpunished. So even if you're doing all this good, sooner or later something's gonna come and just, you're gonna be like, why did that happen to me? That doesn't make sense. I was doing good for people. Well, because there's a law of nature. Energy flows from the highest concentration to the low concentration. So you ask yourself again, I wasn't doing anything to anybody. I was helping people. And why would God or the universe allow something like this to happen to me? That makes absolutely no sense. Well, it's the law of nature. It's the law of nature. This is why I'm saying you want to find an equilibrium. It's never good to be too much of anything, even positive. Because how many of you know that when you find yourself being super positive, everything seems to be going your way, and then you go around other people, how do they treat you? Huh? Are they receptive to you? Are they accepting of you? Or are they saying stuff to you like, God, I mean, okay, you having a good day, but everybody ain't having a good day. And, you can't always be like that. Okay, something's going to happen. You just watch. You on a high right now. But, that's how people react to it. Because people are going through stuff and they don't really want to. They don't want to know that everything is perfect for you and they're going through stuff. I mean, that's just human nature. That's what it is. Number 6. The phenomena of seeing the same car, like after you go and purchase a car or somebody purchases a car that's close to you and then you start to see that car everywhere. You've experienced that? So I said the we see the same car phenomenon is evidence of our ability to materialize our interests, okay, and internal visions to perceptibility for the body. Okay, it's evidence, it's proof that we had that power all along to materialize. Okay, so essentially what it is, and I'm going to wrap this up in short order here. Essentially what it is the fact that you have always seen those cars. You've seen more cars than you even realize you paid attention to. And remember, the mind is the storage space for all of your sensory experiences. And so any time you have seen any automobile, any vehicle, whether you're cognizant of it, whether you paid attention or not, if your eyes scanned it, it's stored in the mind, okay? And the mind, it keeps it. It doesn't throw it away. It's there, all right? And so then now, if you are to focus on a particular car, okay, what's going to happen is, especially if you take an interest in it, let's say it's for somebody else, not even for you. It's for, let's say, a friend of yours, but you're going with them to help them find the car, or you're helping them purchase the car, or in any way involved. They're your best friend, so you care, right? And they get the car. Guess what? After you leave them and you're on your way, you're going to notice that car everywhere. You know why? That car has always been there. Hundreds of them. You've seen them all along, every day. Everywhere. You've seen them in different states, everywhere. But because now you have a vested interest in that automobile, now you are either waiting for the delivery of the vehicle for your friend, or you're going with them to pick it up, or they're calling you and saying, I'm going to go pick it up. But see, you have a vested interest. And so now you are involved in that situation. You have taken an interest in that situation, and therefore, and you grow an internal vision. And that's like asking the mind to release all of the memories, or to use the memories that are stored of all those types of cars that you have seen to help you point out all of those type of vehicles as you go about your days. And so your mind says, okay, be on the lookout for a 2004 Toyota 4Runner. That's what's happening. And so now, every time one drives, I don't care if it's in your peripheral vision, I don't care if it's over a mile down the road, you're going to be looking, be like, there it is again. I see it everywhere. That's because you've taken an interest in it. You already have the image in your mind. That's an imagination. It's already in there. And now you've just taken a personal interest in it. You become invested in the ideal of it, the image of it. And now your mind is going to do its job and release that memory, and it's going to be in your psyche, in your thought process, and you're going to start to notice it everywhere. Now, if that is the way you've experienced it yourself, if that's going on, imagine what you can do if you purposely took interest in things and you went through the 6 steps of manifestation. Imagine what you could actually make your mind or body pay attention to. We're going to talk more on that. I'm going to go deeper in that, but let me read the rest of this. So here's my summation of that phenomenon. The desired already exists. But to manifest it, we must tune in to the proper channel. Remember, we talked about that earlier. The channel, the frequency of the mind to access the memory. So that's what we're doing. We're tuning into the memory, the mind. We're tuning into the mind, right? To the proper frequency to unleash that image, to give the body and the senses permission to now search out and know what to look for. There's that Toyota 4Runner right there. Tomorrow, you're going to get up, you're going to go to sleep, you're going to wake up, and you're going to be out and about, and you're going to see another Toyota 4Runner. Same color, same model, same everything. Because you are now tuned in. You are invested. You are tuned into that frequency. All right, with that being said, I think we've gone long enough, 22 minutes. Lastly, number 7 is mastering the 5 senses actually leads to and unlocks the 6th sense, which some people say is intuition. Okay? All right, we'll develop this more, but this has gone on long enough, 22 minutes and 48 seconds. Thank you for tuning in. If you like this type of content, make sure you like, subscribe, and share. We'll see you on the next upload. Peace out. Happy 31st day of manifestation. Time to go work out. Talk to you soon. Love you. Bye.